Well, hello friends, I'm David Vos, and it is a beautiful day in Texas. Went out to the lake for just a little bit this morning, and man, the leaves were all on the trees and sun was shining. It's just been raining like the dickens for the last couple days. We even had some tornado warnings and so forth. But it's a beautiful day, and I hope everybody else is having a wonderful day wherever you are. I have some actually very shocking information to show you. You might know about this magazine called The Economist. Evidently this magazine has some ties to the Rothschilds, and they have a lot of artwork on their covers and in their magazine that seems to be very predictive. You've probably all seen the tarot cards that many of these people are putting out in this game, and it seems to predict the future. Well, the same thing's going on here with this magazine, this economy magazine called The Economist. And back in 1980 something, they did this picture here, which is quite a while ago. And at that time they made this drawing, very significant drawing, that looks like an eagle, but it's really like a sphinx, which is the rising of the Atlantis, the New World Government. And you see that it says they're saying get ready for a world currency. All right? Okay, but notice the date on this New World coin that's got right in the middle of the coin, there's the Greek symbol of phi, which is the golden ratio. And right below that is the date 2018. Yeah, so we're talking predictive messages here. This phoenix bird is rising up out of the ashes of the old world currency. Sound familiar? But they're giving you the date for their new world currency, which is 2018. Friends, we're in the year 2017. So they've got this all planned. But the rest of what they have planned, if that's not bad enough, because we're all scared about the new world order that's coming. And I suppose all of us have, wondered when this thing is going to occur, what's going to happen, how is it going to occur. Oh boy, howdy friends. It's scary, the things that they are predicting through this magazine. And also they're going to show in this magazine some tarot cards with some predictive information on it. And I want to go through this. See the dollar bills there that are burning? That's the world currency today. It's going to go up in flames, and out of the old world disorder and destruction comes a new world order. And that's what that phoenix bird coming up out of the ashes of the old world order represents. But the gold coin there with the Greek phi on it it has a date of 2018. So we know that this is the date that they're getting ready for the New World Order. Now, if you don't think that's scary enough, just watch the commercials. You watch Fox News or even CNN or whatever, and about every 5 minutes, they've got this commercial. And it says, buy silver and buy gold because we're going to have a reset. They're telling you flat out, we're going to have a reset. It's not a matter of if, but when. Now, also, remember the Olympic closing ceremony. Yeah, there's that same phoenix bird that arises up out of the ashes of the old world order. You see, they've got to destroy the present world order, friends, and they've got it all planned out, they think. Although I'm going to show you that they're not planning on a couple of things. One of which is the fact that we're going to figure this out, and we, the people, are going to awaken. And we're not going to let them do this. Are we, friends? So, then in the year 2015, which was 2 years ago, this was the cover of the magazine. Now I want you to look at that. There's a lot going on in that. It's very predictive. This is what they're planning. Notice that all of the people, to start with, just notice that the people in that picture are all in black and white. I mean, their faces. They all have colored suits on and so forth. Putin's got a red tie, and Obama's got a red tie. Why is that significant? Well, if you notice, ever since Donald Trump has become president, he wears a red tie. And there's this thing where he's wearing it really long. It's unusually long. But what's the deal with the red tie? It appears that Putin and Obama in 2015 were running the show. And now Donald Trump is running the show. See, if you look there to the right, you'll see the Prime Minister of England, and he doesn't have a red tie. And the guy there, the President of China, does not have a red tie. Nobody else has that, even though they're out front. They're important. But with Obama right in the middle, they're saying he's running the show. And then off to his side, Putin is sort of challenging him. Merkel is standing in between them, and so she's going to play a big role. Notice off to the left-hand side, there's the Pied Piper. Now, a lot of you probably don't know what that means. I mean, that's something, it's like a symbol that you see in a lot of poetry and so forth. So he got started back in the Middle Ages. He was, it was the tale of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. And this was a town in the Middle Ages of Germany. And the story goes that he came into town and began to play his flute, and he piped on his little flute, and he mesmerized the town, and the little children basically were mesmerized by his beautiful music. And so all these little children were so beguiled by this beautiful music that they followed the Pied Piper right on out of town, off into their doom and destruction, and they all died. Oh my goodness. Could this be more appropriate? This is definitely very symbolic. And, you know, a magazine such as this, The Economist, certainly wouldn't put all this time and effort into creating symbolisms like this. This is very, very significant. Notice the Pied Piper is playing, but Putin and Obama are sort of leading the pack with Merkel in the middle. And meanwhile, the Pied Piper is playing his little flute and leading them into doom, right? But in front of them, there is and there's more to this Pied Piper thing, because I believe that the Rothschilds are not God, but they make mistakes. And there's what they are predicting, and there's what's going to actually happen. So I'm going to talk about the Pied Piper in a moment here, because the Pied Piper is going to lead them all off into oblivion, but their plan is to use Donald Trump as the Pied Piper. And I'm going to show you that these people don't have any control over Donald Trump. And the fact that they show him here as the Pied Piper does not mean that they are purposely putting him in to lead everybody off the cliff. But in their minds, Donald Trump is going to lead this revolt. And when we all follow Donald Trump, it's going to lead us all off the cliff. But see, that's not what they want. They want to lead us not off the cliff. What they want is to lead us into this terrible world destruction and nuclear war and economic collapse into a one-world government. For them, Donald Trump, he doesn't work for them. He's in this. He's got his magical flute, and everybody's mesmerized by Donald Trump, and they don't like it. And they think that if people will follow Donald Trump, it's going to be to their doom. But you see, either way, in their mind, it's doom. It's either following Donald Trump's doom because they're going to bankrupt the country, or it's following them and their plan, which was Obama and Merkel. And you see, the world players are portrayed. But they're showing you that they don't have control over some of the world players. Even though Putin was off to the side and seemed to be leading the world, they are recognizing Putin is leading the world in many ways. And they recognize that Donald Trump is playing the Pied Piper. But notice in this picture that Merkel, see, She's in the front with Hillary Clinton. And notice Obama is in there. All of them have black and white faces. But you see there's only about 4 or 5 faces in that crowd that are in color. And that is Putin, the Chinese leader, the Pope. And so what this is saying is that all these leaders that are in black and white, right out in front, the ones that are being run by the Rothschilds primarily is Hillary Clinton, Merkel, Obama. See, he's in black and white. The Japanese Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of England, they're all puppets for the Rothschilds. But President Putin is in living color and is in control of himself. You've got the President of China, Xi Jinping. He's in color. So you see, they don't control Putin and they don't control China. But they really do control Obama, Hillary, Merkel, and the Prime Minister of England, and all those other, the Prime Minister of Japan. Those are puppets. But what they're saying is that leading the whole pack is the Pied Piper. And this is what the DNC, run by the elite Rothschild bankers, this is what you'll find they were calling Donald Trump back during the campaign. When during their campaign they began to realize that all their polling was showing that Donald Trump was going to win, there was nothing they could do. And so if you go back into their emails, that Podesta email WikiLeaks scandal, and all these emails came out, and we are able to read these emails. There was one email that came out that was called the DNC strategy call. And in that email, they were strategizing, since they weren't going to win, who they were going to promote and hope that that person won, because they were such an idiot that they could just be playing the Pied Piper and lead everybody off into chaos. Meanwhile, they could work out their plan, because they knew that the world wasn't going to go for Hillary Clinton. So they chose to more or less promote the Pied Piper. And if you look there in the email, they were debating between Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and Ben Carson. And of course, Donald Trump was the one that won, and the one that was chosen. They more or less kind of allowed him to win, because they thought, ha ha ha, this goon, this guy's crazy, and he'll get to be president, and then he'll just bomb, and he won't know what to do because he's so ignorant and he's so stupid, and we'll just run him as the Pied Piper, and we'll just run everybody off into the cliff, because that's what they want. They want everybody to be run off into a cliff. But I think they don't know what they've done. Just like when they tried to do that with Putin. Putin was a KGB agent and worked through the ranks until he became prime minister. When he got to be prime minister, he basically double-crossed him. And Putin threw out the oligarchs, the Jewish economic lords of the country that took over in the Bolshevik Revolution, threw them out, imprisoned some, banned some from the country, and basically saved the country. If you remember, the Soviet Union fell, and they were in economic crises. See? And Putin has been a formidable foe to the one world Rothschild bankers. They're really sorry they ever trusted him. Well, I think the same thing is happening with Donald Trump. I think that they didn't realize just how Donald Trump isn't that stupid. They may have thought so, but he's not. And now they don't know what to do. Now, if you notice that in the bottom of the picture, there's this panda, this big giant, panda with the muscles and so forth. This is representing the fact that China has a lot of muscle. See the sumo wrestler holding up the battery? Yeah, a little detail like that. That's polarity. So it appears that what they're going to do is change the polarity of the economic world powers, so that the power is no longer in the United States, but in China. And, so in a sense, I think they had planned at this point for Donald Trump to take over, perhaps Brexit, They know they're not going to be able to use Europe. That's over with. And you'll see in some of their pictures what they plan on doing with Merkel. They know that they've lost Germany and the European Union, and they're going to shift it all over to China. And right to the right of this whole Chinese little muscle man, sumo wrestler panda guy, and the polarity and the battery and the plus sign and the negative, which is the polarities of this world power, there's this little Alice in Wonderland staring at the Cheshire Cat. She's staring at the Cheshire Cat, who, is part of the illusion, right, in all of the ancient fairy tales where the cat more or less just disappears and all that's remaining is the smile, because it's an illusion. And that's the whole gist of the Alice in Wonderland thing. It's all an illusion. And so Alice is staring at the cat, but she's actually staring at Obama, Merkel, China, the Prime Minister of England, which up to this point, 2015, had been the world power, and they had all the money, and the economy was run by them. Well, you see, she's not looking at China. She's looking at Obama, the Chinese leader, and the Prime Minister of England. But over there to the left of the illusion, there's the panda. There's the battery. That's the polarity that's going to change. And they had this plan from before 2015. Of course, they've got the whole thing planned because back in the 80s, they'd already been drawing the date for the world currency change in 2018. And that's only a year away, friends. And there is also perhaps a date on this cover here. There's some numbers on two arrows. They're sort of pierced into the ground or stuck into the ground right in front of Alice. Now Alice, you see, she's awake. She sees the Cheshire Cat. She knows it's all an illusion. She calls the Queen of Hearts out and says, "How dare you?" Right? So she knows what's going on. The entire economy that we've been dealing with for years now is just an illusion, and it's about to disappear like the Cheshire Cat, with all that's remaining is the smile, the cunning trickery. And the arrows are always representative of something that meets its mark, right? They're supposed to hit the bull's eye, right? The bull market, but they failed and they went sailing straight down into the ground and they came up short. They missed the mark. You ever see those charts and the arrow points up when the economy's doing good, but the arrow points down when the economy's doing bad? But when the arrow is actually stuck in the ground, it means that it's landed, it's grounded, it's over. The economy's done. Ground zero. Why is it 11.5 for one arrow and 11.3 for the other? Well, there are 12 months in a year, so that could be some allusion to the month of November, November 5th or November 3rd, but I don't know for sure what those numbers could mean. Could the two arrows represent two events that hit simultaneously, one on the 5th and one on the 3rd? I don't know. The one which has got the 0.3 is ahead of the one that's got a 0.5. That would make sense because on the 3rd some catastrophe maybe would happen and an arrow strikes the ground, and then on the 5th, 2 days later, perhaps another arrow falls. This is something I'm not sure what that means, but very likely it is something, and it could very well be a date, and evidently somewhere just before the year 2018, or perhaps in the year 2018. But that could actually be saying that in November, on the 3rd, something is going to crash, perhaps the stock market here in America, and then 2 days later, the Chinese stock market will crash, or something of that nature. I don't know. But through it all, the Pied Piper is going to play, and that's Donald Trump. And this is their plan. They don't control Putin. They don't control the Chinese government, and they don't control the Pied Piper, which is Donald Trump, which is going to be playing his little magical flute throughout all of the crash. Because you see, when it crashes, Donald Trump is going to put the borders up around the United States, and he's going to say, all right, we're going to somehow get through this, and we're going to survive this. And while the Pied Piper is playing, they plan on shifting the world power over to the east and changing the entire structure of the world. Then you see that in 2017, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tarot cards with the future predicted on the front. I wonder what these cards will tell us. Well, the first card is the recognition that the Rothschild elite bankers, the sorcerer that has been putting us all under this spell, they're done. The people are marching in the streets. They don't want TTP. They say stop. They don't want the one world government. And so this card sort of shows us that they're acknowledging and not worried about the fact that we're all kind of waking up to them and we don't like them. And so while all this is going on, you notice that this is a dark, bleak picture. The mountains look gray. They almost look like they're waves, going to crash in around the people as they protest. And off to the front and the bottom, below the sorcerer who's casting his spell upon the people, below him there seems to be like a globe sort of broken. It's split in two, and it's got this schism down the middle, and it's going right through what appears to be the United States, the North American continent. So it looks like NAFTA and the North American Union has been broken. The people are upset, and the time for change has arrived. Now remember, this is all happening in the year 2017. The next card is the Wheel of Fortune. They're going to tell us our future, our fortune. And there are 3 people on the Wheel of Fortune today. And the one that's important is Merkel. Angela Merkel, and then to her left there's a picture of Marine Le Pen. And then on the bottom, that's Mark Rutte from Holland. And Marine Le Pen is from France. So what we've got there is Holland, Germany, and France. Are they telling us that there's going to be some kind of coalition that's going to come crashing down? I just did a video yesterday about the Polish people in total outrage over all of these refugees that are coming into Europe, and they've had enough. So it looks like these 3 are done and the European Union is over. France and England and Holland are going to be at the forefront. And notice that there's a lightning bolt going right through Angela Merkel. So obviously she's done. And notice there's ballot boxes at the bottom. It looks like ballot boxes. So they're going to be voted out. They're done. And obviously because of the situation where she's been allowing these refugees into the country. Then they got the next card with Donald Trump sitting on an American flag draped around his seat right over top the United States. So he's like king, right? He's got his crown in his hand and his staff and his scepter or something, and there's going to be judgment to the world, right? Because he's tired of these refugees coming into the country, and he's going to put up the border and stop the Mexicans from coming over, and so he's going to play the role of king, and he's going to be the one that the world looks to because Merkel's out. Holland, France, Europe is done because they used these refugees for so many purposes. They created ISIS so that they could wipe out the Middle East. But then, like, why let a good thing go to waste? We can use these refugees. Let's pour them, into these other countries and bring down their entire economies, make people so angry that they begin to pull out of all the unions, the European Union and the NAFTA and all these things, and make people angry, and we'll put up walls, and the world will just come down crashing, right? And who's the king of all this? Dun, 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 dun. The Pied Piper, Donald Trump. See, the Pied Piper became king, and he's going to mete out the justice. But it's all within their plan, because they think, now think about this, friends, when the world goes down in defeat, European Union goes down in defeat, this is not going to be good for Putin. This is not going to be good for America, because who controls the money? No matter what Donald Trump does, they think that they can control the world by pulling out their money and collapsing the economy and going to another one world government system, whereby they don't even care whether or not Donald Trump is king. They don't even care. They used Merkel and spit her out for lunch. She thought she was queen, right? But she was queen for an hour. Now she's out, and they don't care about her. They only use her to destroy her country. See, the little traitor, she's going to get what she, in her greed and her, her little puppeteering act is over, and now she's gone. And they're using all of these people. But they're using Trump too. The only problem is I don't think they understand that Trump's got an actual plan. And, by the grace of God, I'm hoping that we the people will get out in force and wake up and see what's coming and actually turn this around so that it turns out to be a defeat for the one world government. See, these elite bankers, they control everything, but only by money and by propaganda and all these things. They don't control the actual person literally. They're using Obama. They've got Obama to believe now he's, leading a revolt, and he really hates Trump, see, and they think, oh, we're going to win, and they're doing all of this from compulsion. They chose these people well. And so Obama's doing his little thing, so he's trying to bring down America. That's his plan. Well, he's just acting out like a puppet what they want him to do. They want him to destroy this country, him and George Soros. See, George Soros is hungry to destroy this country because he wants this one world government. He's laughing all the way, and he's controlling Hillary. And Hillary went down, and they didn't care about Hillary, and they don't care about Merkel, and they don't care about Obama, but they're still using Obama. And they think that Donald Trump is going to play the Pied Piper and lead us all off into this big judgment and doom. But in reality, what they're not counting on, Donald Trump has sat down with all of the people in our government, and he's explaining this to them. He's got a think tank, and they're figuring this out. And they're saying, look it, this is what they're planning. And he's saying, hey, Ryan, Newt Gingrich, Ben Carson, you guys come on down here to this table. Mr. Schumer, do you know that you're being orchestrated like a puppet? Like a fine-tooled machine? And he's going to say, listen, guys, we've got to start working together. The world, the economy's going down. Is this what you want? See, up to now, the elite have had all these people hoodwinked into thinking, oh, I'm a liberal. Oh, I'm a conservative. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, and you're this, and I'm gay, and you're not, and, But at some point, there's people that got some brains out there, and they're going to say, listen, we have the one country in the world that can save the world. That though our Constitution is hanging by a thread, if we just, come out of this, come on, we got to come out of this now. We're starting to wake up to the fact that this one world government that they're trying to put over on us might not be the best thing for America or for the world. And this Brexit movement's real. I'm not sure that the elite really realize what they've started. And, once they throw out Merkel and Germany joins the bandwagon, and Donald Trump, has been enthroned as king, I think Donald Trump's pride is not going to let him just bend over. I don't think he's going to just cave. I think he's going to try and form a coalition against the one world government. We'll have to see who wins this battle, friends, but I'm betting on the people. I'm betting on the people. I think we're going to wake up. I think they went too far. What do you think? I really don't think they have it all figured out. I don't think their plan's going to work, because you see, this is their plan, friends. We better hope their plan doesn't work, because the Grim Reaper is what their plan is. Yeah, nuclear war. Do you see the little flies flying around? That means, flies, they get into dead carcasses and it starts to stink, and they the maggots come out, and it's horrid. This is disgusting, friends. They're showing us right there. These pictures can't mean anything else. I don't need to be an expert in interpretation to interpret that card for you, friends. This is their plan. Mr. Chuck Schumer, do you see this? I hope you see this video, because this is their plan. Do you want to participate in this? You're not just going to be destroying America, Mr. Schumer. You're going to be destroying the world. Now look at this magazine in 2017, the latest version of their little group. And you notice that the players are all the same. Obama's there, black and white face. They control him still. Hillary's still there, Merkel, and all these players in 2017. Because you see, they haven't gone down yet. This is about the time then that they're predicting that Merkel's going to go down here real soon, this year. But instead of Putin, notice the person in the yellow circle. This is the leader of the Ukraine. Where's Putin? What happened to Putin? See, what are their plans for Putin and the Ukraine? There's something going on there, because not only is Putin not in that picture, but neither is Donald Trump. And you see, with this magazine being 2017, Donald Trump should be in the picture. Not just as the Pied Piper during the election, but now as a president, right? Why they still got Obama in there? See, they think these are the people they're controlling. They control Obama, Merkel, Hillary. They still don't control China. That hasn't happened yet, right? During the year 2017, the end of 2018, they plan on switching powers, but they're not going to have the Chinese leader run the world. See, it's the elite bankers that are going to run the world, shifting the market to China. And with Putin out of the way, it appears that they're going to sort of put their new emphasis on the Ukrainian president. And why would that be? Because, remember, they want to shift the world economy to the east, to China. But notice that the Chinese president is got a colored face. He's in color, living color. So they don't control him. They got to do something about him. And evidently, before we saw how they don't control Putin, well, they are evidently worried about this Petro Poroshenko, president of the Ukraine. Now, a lot of people think that he's pro-European because he says he wants to start a union with Europe. See, but according to the Economist, Europe's over. Merkel's done. The whole thing's going to be in tatters and in ruins. You see, Petro Poroshenko has a lot. He's a billionaire, and most of his money is in Russia. So he has an ulterior motive to be with Putin. Putin is the one that helped him get into office, because he is connected to the Russian government because of all of his financial interests in that country. And so this is why he is in living color, because they cannot control him. And he then takes the world stage in this picture, because they've not only got to figure out what to do with this Chinese leader. See, they can't control him, but they want to shift power to the east. So they're going to put their own puppet in over there. That's what they're going to try and do. And they don't like this Petro Poroshenko because he's in cahoots with Putin, and they can't control Putin, and they can't control the Ukraine. And so they want to devastate Europe and bring down the entire Ukraine. And they're trying to bankrupt Russia, and they're going to try and ruin the economy in America. And they think they're going to bring the world to its knees, friends. And notice there in the background, behind the president or the prime minister of England, you see the mushroom cloud? Look at the moon. The moon is scared. And it just looks like a pretty dire situation. There's a missile being launched there. Are they planning on war at the end of 2017? I've been saying for quite some time now, friends, that they do plan on bringing World War III very soon. And it's anyone's guess as to what's exactly going to happen. They want to destroy the economy worldwide. They want to bring anarchy and economic collapse to the world. How will they do that? Well, they seem to be indicating a lot of mushroom clouds in all of their pictures and missile launches. They seem to be saying that the United States is going to go over a cliff, that economic collapse is going to happen here and in Europe, and that Merkel's out. And of course, it's Acropolis now, you know. In other words, this is going to have something to do with martial law, rioting, the refugee crisis, the downfall of France, Holland, Germany, the situation in Canada that's fomenting now, the Brexit thing, and of course, the big problem for them is Donald Trump in the White House. They're hoping that Donald Trump will not be able to succeed in the counter-revolution. Friends, if we get behind him, there's nothing we as a people cannot do. They got their plans. They know what they're doing. They're planning on a one-world government and a world currency in 2018. What do you think they're going to plan between now and then? Well, the resist with the Democratic Party is part of the plot. They want to bankrupt this country. They want to bring in terrorists. They want to bring in chaos. Let's hope and pray that Donald Trump keeps these terrorists out of our country and is somehow able to lower the taxes. We need to get behind him, friends. Get rid of Obamacare, because if we don't, see, this plan that Donald Trump's got, you may not like it, but I'm telling you, there ain't no way to go back to perfection at this point. What we need to do is get rid of the Obama plan, because that's $1 trillion of taxes we won't have to pay that's going to bankrupt this country. We better do something fast, friends. We better get on the side, not of those who are with the Rothschild bankers and Merkel and Obama, the puppets, and Hillary, trying to, making deals with Goldman Sachs and doing one thing behind our backs and telling us another thing in front of our face and lying and cheating and, oh, the Russians stole the election, but guess what? They just simply published your emails that you wrote and exposed your corruption. I think it was a good thing what happened. And if it was Russia that did it, thank you, Russia. So, friends, it's going to come down to you and I, the American people, and our president, and whether or not we're going to come together against the world elite that are trying to bring in the one world government. Are we going to stand together and take back our country and be an example for the rest of this world once again, as we have done in history so many times before? Yes, truth keeps marching on. Friends, I'm going to go ahead and go. I hope you guys have a great day. I understand that there's a lot of you people out there that just got here. Maybe you're from Mexico. Maybe you're an immigrant and you just got here, and all of a sudden now you're allowed to vote or have an opinion. Friends, whoever you may be, please look around in this world and look at what's happening to Europe. Look at how the Polish people are reacting to all of these immigrants flooding into the country. Look at how Germany's being taken over. Look at all the bombings and the suicide bombings and the shootings and the murders Do you want this for the world? Do you want martial law? Do you want our economy to fail? Then just ask for more welfare. What we need is what Donald Trump's proposing. We need to jumpstart the economy, get back to work, and start taking care of ourselves so that we can be there to help the rest of the world when they go down. So, this here is David Vos. I'm going to go ahead and close. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you again tomorrow.